cannot, we must not, we will not leave our citizens behind. We're going to be focused on jobs, economic vitality, and bringing Philadelphia back from this economic crisis. We're working every day to make this a safer city. Here in Philadelphia, we know how to get things done. We are sick and tired of being sick and tired about blight and deteriorated properties in this city. We are the smart choice. We are the smart city, ready to go. We are incredibly excited about this farmers market as a part of our Get Healthy Philly initiative.
Keep coming. I'm gonna get over there in a second. Sorry to hold you up. This is another moment of great progress here in our city. I'm pleased to be joined by Council President Darrell Clarke, Jason Kramer, Executive Director of the Board of Ethics, Judge Beck, who is, of course, a member of the Board of Ethics, Stephanie Tipton, who's our Chief Integrity Officer, and she could not be here, but certainly want to give thanks and recognition to our former Chief Integrity Officer, most recently, Hope Caldwell. Recognize our Inspector General, Amy Curlin. Thank you for being here. And you're going to hear from a few of the folks up here in a second. I'll make some remarks. The Council President is going to make remarks, right? Shane Kramer, and then there'll be an official bill signing. Throughout my time here as both member of City Council and as mayor of our great city, I've tried to make operating the City of Philadelphia with ethics and integrity one of the hallmarks of my public service and certainly for our administration. I believe that we've worked in partnership in so many ways and work hard each day to earn the public's trust in our city government. We've made changes at places like the Penn's Landing Corporation, which transitioned into the Delaware River Waterfront Corporation, doing a fantastic job at development. Working together, we implemented the Actual Value Initiative, rewrote the city's zoning code, strengthened the Office of Inspector General, created the Chief Integrity Officer position, and consistently release data, this open data concept here in Philadelphia. But there's always more that we can do. Today we're talking specifically about shining a light on our elections process by expanding the reporting requirements for organizations that fundraise for the purpose of spending money on city elections. Under our current system, campaign finance information is disclosed, in my view, either way too long before or too close to an election for the public to truly adequately scrutinize and evaluate how candidates' campaigns are funded and by whom. And due to deregulation or changes in the law, or at least court opinion by the U.S. Supreme Court, spending by independent groups during elections has increased exponentially. Most recently, a large proportion of the money spent on the Philadelphia mayoral primary came from independent groups, technically not affiliated or in any coordination with a particular candidate. Philadelphians, though, had every reason, and I believe a right, to know about who was spending money during the election and for every election, and who they may have been supporting and the source of those funds. I want to applaud the Board of Ethics for recognizing this hidden aspect of our local electoral process and proposing this legislation to actually do something about it. But I really want to thank Council President Darrell Clarke and all the members of City Council for advancing this bill through Council. It's one thing to have an idea, it's another thing to take action, and City Council, led by the Council President, took action. The Ethics Board, which is charged with enforcing our city's campaign finance laws, has wisely included in this bill more robust disclosure requirements, which will help all of us to evaluate potential violations of those laws in a timely manner. Policymakers, the courts, and the public have long recognized that the best way to check the potential influence of campaign dollars on the decision-making process in the government and by elected officials is to require public disclosure of who is spending money on what elections. Philadelphia needs this sunshine legislation to help hold all of us as elected officials accountable to the public and to continue to bolster confidence in our local government. And so again, it is with great pride that I'll have the opportunity to sign this legislation, but that doesn't happen unless City Council takes action, and action it took with the leadership and the introduction of this piece of legislation that came through City Council, and that came as a result of the work of Council President Darrell Clarke.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Good afternoon, everyone. First, I'd like to say that good things happen when people work together. Mayor, we were here 3 weeks ago, and we were signing a bill on the lease of the airport, and we talked about the ability to collaborate and how successful that was. And in this particular case, again, we have always collaborated on a very important initiative, and I just want to say that it is, again, a template for how things get done. So I want to thank everyone for participating. I want to thank the Ethics Board for not only this, but working with us on the gift bill. Thank you for your great work. Guys, we really appreciate having that opportunity to get together and get some things done again. I want to thank the mayor for being a leader in this, not only as the mayor, but prior to that as a council person representing the 4th Councilmatic District. It's been a great experience. When I think about this particular issue, and I always think in terms of the reality as it relates to being out in neighborhoods and talking to people and their interaction with the constituency that you represent. And I think the thing that makes me feel good is when a person walks up to you and say, you know, I really trust you, I'm going to support you. And it's nothing to me, there's nothing more important than that. So that's why it's important for us to put in place initiatives that ensure for even those that may want to go a little over the line, that we outline and lay out in clear terms what in fact you should do and what in fact you should not do. So being as a part of the council, and I want to thank all my colleagues, in particular Councilwoman Tasker, who couldn't be here as the co-sponsor, and for the unanimous support for the members who are working on this legislation, along with the Ethics Board and the administration for crafting what we believe shall be something that will make it clear who is supporting what candidate and for what office, and put people in a position to cast their vote based on understanding all aspects of that particular person's candidacy. So I want to thank you guys. Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Shane. Members, all the members of the Ethics Board. Thanks, Amy, for continuing to do great work. And thank all of the people who have collaborated. My staff person, John Christmas, is not here today. He actually did real good work on making sure that we got this together. So guys, thank you all so much. Look forward to signing this, and look forward to continuing making sure that the level of transparency in all of the work we do is clearly above and beyond reproach. So thank you so much for your support.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Well, on behalf of the Board of Ethics, I'd like to thank the Mayor, City Council, and especially Council President Clarke, and also Councilwoman Mario Tasco for passing and approving this important amendment to the city's campaign finance law. As Council President Clarke and the Mayor have already suggested, this amendment represents just the latest in an ongoing effort, a collaborative effort between Council, the Board, and the Mayor to improve the city's public integrity laws. And this new disclosure requirement will ensure that the public will be fully informed about who is spending money to influence city elections, and puts Philadelphia in the vanguard of an effort to shed light on super PACs and nonprofits that have been spending millions of dollars nationwide to influence federal, state, and local elections since the Supreme Court decision in Citizens United back in 2010. Now, I should point out that the law is now in effect, and the first new disclosure round will be due on September 22nd. So soon the board is going to be announcing training specifically directed at the new disclosure requirements to help political committees and other groups to comply with the new requirements. And in closing, I'd like to once again thank the Mayor, City Council, and Council President Clarke for acting so quickly to enact these new disclosure requirements. Going forward, the public is going to have access to much more information about paid efforts to influence their vote. Thank you.
So we're going to move over to the chairs, and then we'll come back for any Q&A. This is bill number 150. Well, it's your bill, so you should.
Play the role of Chief Clerk. Bill number 150368, an ordinance amending Chapter 20, 1000 of the Philadelphia Code entitled Political Contributions and Expenditures by further providing for disclosures relating to contributions and committee expenditures, including electioneering communications, expenditures, further defining expenditures, further providing for regulation of contributions, and making technical changes all under certain terms and conditions.
Just like Mike.
I sound like Mike Decker, right? Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
It's now the law.
All right,
There you go.
good stuff.
So, I'd be glad to try to answer any questions that you might have on the legislation that was signed today. Any questions?
Okay, you still believe there's just still too much money in politics generally, no matter how much you disclose or force folks to disclose?
Well, I mean, I guess it depends on how you define too much. I mean, it is what it is. It's the United States of America. The U.S. Supreme Court has said that, I mean, it's obviously expanded the definitions or the opportunities for folks to spend money. I think what we've tried to do in Philadelphia is a combination of limits, which I think, again, in my view, have worked pretty well. The impact of Citizens United, I mean, I think may have caught more than a few of us slightly off guard as we were moving into the 2015 cycle. We didn't see this. Well, it was a different kind of issue in 2007, if I'm recalling. I think there was, what were those things called? 529, 527? 527. The 527s had really just kind of started, but weren't that active in 2007. 2011, I mean, maybe not the most exciting election in the world, and we didn't see a lot of that kind of activity. There is a lot of money in politics. And I want to be careful because it'll come back at me. I mean, what do candidates spend a lot of their money on? Well, quite honestly, they spend a lot of their money on television. So, I mean, if you all want to give, you know, everybody free ads, that might be a different story. Probably not going to happen. So, the remedy here is we have a combination of limits, at least for the things that we can limit, and now greater disclosure for these entities that technically are not directly tied to a particular candidate. They're supposed to not coordinate with a candidate, but at least we'll know for that next ad that goes up, beyond the disclaimer that's down the bottom of the TV screen, you know, who was giving the money. And I think the public then gets to evaluate that candidate not only on what they're talking about, but who's supporting them, even in an unconnected way. I mean, I think there will not be perfection in the system. The most you can do is try to make sure that people are not abusing it, that there is disclosure, and at the same time respect what the U.S. Supreme Court has said, which is, you know, money is speech. That's it. I mean, I don't know what else to tell you.
Do you think that the need for large amounts of money to compete in campaigns now, even at the Democratic primary level, in running for mayor, caused Representative Fattah to make the mistakes that he's alleged to have made in taking an illegal $1 million contribution in 2007?
Well, I think, as you can imagine, I'm probably not going to go very far into that. I don't know what drove that ultimate decision. You know, and I'm sure in the weeks and months ahead, and possibly through the rest of the legal process, we'll know more about that. I don't know what caused the congressman to possibly do what's been alleged. I think the fact of the matter is that, you know, running for office, running for a high office, even for mayor of Philadelphia, and it's been increasingly getting more expensive, but we've seen the same thing in virtually all of the election cycles. I mean, what members of Congress in the House, or what people in the Senate running for governor, or next year there'll be a presidential election. I mean, folks are now talking about, upwards of having to raise possibly $1 billion to run for president of the United States of America. I mean, the real question is, where does it kind of end? How do small donors get their voices heard? They don't have lobbyists. They don't have, large amounts of money to invest in a campaign. And so, I don't know where this all ends up going, but the dollars are what the dollars are. I think that the one thing you haven't mentioned is the amount of time that candidates have to spend trying to raise money, which, I mean, no matter how much money you have, no matter who you are, there are still only 24 hours in a day. There's only so much work you can do, and if you have to spend, a couple hours, 3 hours, 4 hours a day, and have goals and have metrics and all kinds of stuff that, are required to run for office in the United States of America today, at some point in time, I mean, it really does potentially start to take away from the main mission of the job. And people can find themselves in a position where they spend more and more of their time trying to keep the job by raising money than actually doing the job. So I don't know where it ends. I mean, this is, I can't believe that I'm, having more of a philosophical discussion with Jeff Cole, but, that's, I need the tape on this one. Mike? Did you have something? Okay, all right.
Okay.
Do you have the staffing to police this, given all the other things that your office keeps track of during anything?
Well, fortunately, we have mandatory electronic filing. We're updating the database and filing system to accommodate the new filing requirements. And so we do have the capacity to accept the filings. Now, to your point about reviewing these filings, that's another question. We've got a very effective staff, small staff of only 4 people really that are reviewing this stuff. We could always use more resources if anybody's listening. But we can use electronic methods to comb through the data and make comparisons to see if there are misfilings, omissions, and misstatements. So eventually we'll get to review all of it. It just is going to take us a little more time with these additional filings, but we can handle it.
And just unclear, the restrictions apply just to city races?
That's correct.
Mayor, since
Yeah.
you don't think you should have a philosophical discussion with me, let me ask you this.
No, I love having a philosophical, of all the discussions I could have with you, Jeff, I would love having a philosophical discussion.
Do you think, Mayor, that your constituents here in the city of Philadelphia are going to be poorly served if Shaka Fattah remains in office as he claims he will throughout what is likely to be a very long and aggressive prosecution? Will the city residents be poorly served if he remains?
Well, as I said yesterday, an indictment was made yesterday. The congressman has, as any person, a right to due process. We still in this country have the fundamental concept that people are innocent until proven guilty. He will go through whatever part of the process he decides to go through, and at the same time has to figure out, as an elected official, how to best serve his constituents and this city, while he does obviously have some additional challenge and burden related to now a very personal matter for him and his family. I don't know how he's going to spend his time. I have not had a conversation with him. He has been dealing with some aspects of this particular issue, which culminated with yesterday's announcement, for some time. I can tell you during all of the time prior to yesterday, I've had any number of interactions with Congressman Fattah. He has been very active in serving his constituents and this city. Obviously, yesterday may change some things, and he'll have to figure out how to best serve. But it's not for me to give advice or opine. He is an independently elected official. It is his responsibility to figure out how to balance his duties sworn duties and responsibilities to serve, while at the same time handling a very personal, though public, matter. That's as far as I'm going to go.
Reporting in the newspaper today now lays out a series of politicians who've had trouble in the city of Philadelphia, and again sort of laying out this idea that the city struggles still with allegations of corruption. Speak to that, Mayor. You are the president of the council here. Do you believe somehow you've been tainted by yet another allegation against a high-profile Democrat?
I'm not sure. You had a long string there. I'm not sure I understand the question.
The city of Philadelphia being unfairly painted as, in essence, corrupt by the number of people who seem to be indicted or troubled or
Well,
accusations.
so this will. I mean, we've gone for a little while here, so this will be the last one in this regard. I think that anytime any elected official anywhere is either accused of something, and we've certainly seen here in the city for some who have either been determined to have done what has been alleged, or maybe have pled, or whatever their circumstances, is never good for any of us in elective office. It's never good for the city. It's never good for our citizens. And you know, even when there are significant allegations, it is, you know, at a certain level, it's painful, it's hurtful, it, you know, has the potential at least to damage our reputation. On the other hand, there are 17 members of council, the mayor, a number of row offices, 30-plus members of the General Assembly between the House and the Senate, at least 3 individuals who represent Philadelphia or parts of Philly and the suburbs, 2 senators, and a governor. I mean, there are a lot of elected officials that represent Philadelphia at all 3 levels. The overwhelming majority of the elected officials in this city, in this region, in this state, over an extended period of time, have never gotten in any kind of trouble, have never been alleged to have done anything, and you know, just as you know, one in your profession, most recently, was deemed to have done some things that were inappropriate from a news-making standpoint at you know, NBC National. That does not mean that every media person or every reporter is bad or is doing something inappropriate. People do what people do. I can't control what individuals do, even elected officials, and you know, they have to rise or fall based on the things that they do. So, you know, look, it's hurtful at a variety of levels, but there's not much I can do about it. Thank you. Mike, done? Everybody? Okay. But we signed a great piece of legislation today, which I know you're going to devote at least a half hour of news coverage to talk about new disclosure requirements that probably pretty much don't exist virtually anywhere else in the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, if not the United States of America. And I would take it that that will probably be the lead on Fox 29 tonight. Thank you. I bet. Thanks a lot.
History tells me that that's probably not the case.